Welcome to Edify's tutorial on using ChatGPT to create classroom tools. My name is Laura, and I'm one of the teachers here at Edify. If this is your first course with Edify, we ask that you watch this tutorial at least once. You'll see it included in each of our courses, but once you've watched it, you don't need to watch it again, unless, of course, you'd like to come back for a refresher. ChatGPT can be an incredibly useful tool for creating classroom materials quickly, and you don't need to know anything complicated to begin. The key is simply telling ChatGPT what you need, who you're creating it for, and how you plan to use it. And don't worry, this will be quick. After just a few minutes of your time, I'll show you how easy it is to turn a simple idea into a classroom resource you can actually use. Let's start with creating a worksheet. One of the easiest and most useful ways to use ChatGPT in your classroom is to have it create materials that you would normally spend time making yourself. For example, here I'm asking ChatGPT to create a one-page worksheet for a 6th grade kitchen safety lesson. I've told it what grade level I'm teaching, the topic, how many questions I want, and that I'd like the finished product to be colorful and student-friendly. From that one prompt, ChatGPT begins creating the worksheet and turns the information into a finished visual resource, complete with questions, graphics, and a layout that's ready for students. Once it's created, I can look it over and decide if it works for my class. And this is important. You don't have to accept the first version. I can continue the conversation and ask ChatGPT to change the questions, simplify the language, add vocabulary support, make it more challenging, or redesign the worksheet entirely. Once I'm happy with the final version, I can save it and use it with my students. Instead of starting with a blank page and creating everything from scratch, ChatGPT gives me a starting point that I can build from. I can revise it, personalize it, and make it work for my students. And ultimately, I'm still the one deciding what belongs in my classroom. Now, let's try creating a review sheet. Here's another example of how quickly ChatGPT can help you create a classroom resource. This time, I'm asking it to create a review sheet for an 8th grade math test on slope and linear equations. Notice that my prompt is pretty simple. I tell ChatGPT the grade level and topic, and then I ask it to include formulas, reminders, and sample problems and turn everything into a clear visual handout. In just a few moments, I have a complete review sheet that organizes the information for students. As I look through it, I can see key concepts, formulas, graphs, reminders, and practice problems all presented in one resource. And just like with the worksheet, this doesn't have to be the finished product. I can ask ChatGPT to make changes until the resource fits exactly what I taught and what my students need to review. Now, let's try something a little different and create a choice board for our students. Choice boards are another classroom resource that ChatGPT can create very quickly. For this example, I'm asking it to create a 3x3 choice board for a solar system unit. I want 9 different activities that give students opportunities to write, draw, research, and be creative. I also specifically ask ChatGPT to design it as a colorful picture handout. Once it's finished, I can download the resource and take a closer look at what it created. Here you can see that students have 9 very different choices, from researching fun facts and creating a comic to comparing planets, building a model, or designing a poster. And remember, I can change any part of this. I can simply continue the conversation and ask ChatGPT to replace an activity, change the directions, or adapt the entire board to better fit my students. Let's finish with a tool almost all of us have used at one point or another in our classroom: a study guide. Here, I'm asking ChatGPT to create a one-page study guide for a fifth grade science test on the water cycle. I've asked it to include key vocabulary and important concepts, and to design it as a colorful visual handout with simple illustrations. And here's the finished resource. ChatGPT has taken that simple prompt and organized the information into a student-friendly study guide with vocabulary, explanations, and visuals that reinforce the content. What I hope you've noticed from all of these examples is that you don't need complicated prompts to get started. Tell ChatGPT what you need, who it's for, and what you'd like included. Then review what it creates and continue working with it until you have a resource that works for you and your students. At first, it may seem a little unusual that Edify is actually encouraging you to use artificial intelligence while completing some of our professional development activities. But there is a reason for that. AI is quickly becoming part of the future of education, not as a replacement for teachers, but as another tool available to us. Look, behind this avatar, I am a real classroom teacher just like you. Edify was created by and is run by real teachers who work in the classroom, day in and day out. And I can honestly tell you that once I learned how to utilize AI, it completely transformed my lessons. I revised my Google Slide presentations. I revised my handouts and worksheets, and it took my ability to differentiate my lessons to new levels. It also cut my workload by more than half. Learning how to use AI in the classroom as a resource will become a very freeing experience because it allows you to reimagine how you can teach and reach children, and that is very exciting. That being said, I do want to emphasize that you are never required to use AI tools when completing an Edify course. We simply want you to know that the option is available to you. If using AI is something you're comfortable with or would like to explore, you're welcome to incorporate it into your work, but the choice is entirely yours. And ChatGPT certainly isn't the only AI tool available to educators. There are many AI platforms out there, and that number is only going to continue to grow. But we believe ChatGPT is one of the best places for teachers to start, which is why we chose to focus on it in this tutorial. It's incredibly versatile, it's easy to use, and a free version is available. Because instead of learning several different tools right away, you can begin with one that can help you accomplish a wide variety of tasks. At Edify, our job is to provide excellent professional development, and we feel in order to provide this, we must encourage you to learn and use AI as it is part of the future of education. And let's face it, what teacher couldn't use a little help? The important part is that AI doesn't have what you have. It doesn't know your students. It doesn't have your classroom experience, your subject area expertise, or your professional judgment. That's what you bring to the process. When you combine that knowledge and experience with the capabilities of AI, you can take something you've learned through professional development and immediately begin turning it into something meaningful for your own classroom. And we can all see the writing on the wall. Districts all over are pushing the use of AI in the classrooms. And as districts introduce teachers to AI tools and provide professional development on using them effectively and responsibly, opportunities to actually practice using those tools become increasingly important. When an Edify assignment gives you the opportunity to use ChatGPT or any AI tool you are currently learning or working with, you're not simply completing an assignment. You're practicing how to take new professional learning, combine it with the extensive knowledge you already have as an educator, and use today's technology to create something that can benefit your students. The best part is, you leave the course with new tools that you can actually use with your students, something we all know does not always happen with all professional development. And look, technology will continue to change, just as education has always changed. But continuing to learn, adapt, and explore the tools available to us is part of becoming an even more effective educator. And that's why we make our videos available to you whether you choose to take our courses or not. We believe it's important for teachers to continue learning how to use AI technology effectively, because ultimately, every new tool we add to our teaching practice gives us another way to better support our students and meet their needs. And in the end, that's what all of this is really about, helping our students learn and succeed. If you'd like to continue learning, please explore the other videos on the Edify YouTube page. There, you will find additional demonstrations showing how ChatGPT can help you create and develop lessons and videos that go more in depth when using ChatGPT. Remember, AI isn't here to do the teaching for us. It can never replace us. It's here to help us spend less time creating everything from scratch and more time doing what we do best, teach. Thank you for learning with Edify.